Is President Trump crazy with all these executive orders, or is there a method behind the madness? Hey, Jason here. If you're new to the channel, I am now 10 years in the game as an expat slash nomad. I am on my fourth country, third continent, here in Lusaka, Zambia, which is in the southern region of Africa. What I've started doing is sharing with you things I've learned along this 10-year journey. But most importantly, if you're an expat or thinking about becoming one, why you should be looking at Zambia as an option because of the opportunities that exist here. Now, if you've been on the channel, you know I do not like to talk about politics. It's really something that I don't think is very important to everybody's day-to-day life. However, there's a lot of fear mongering going on, and I just wanted to just talk about something. And I'm keep hearing over and over, oh, Trump is crazy. He's doing this, he's doing that. A lot of things that's happening in the world right now is not because of President Trump. And a lot of things that you may not actually be seeing what's going on in the world, which he is cause of, are actually things that are good. And so I was sent this one video about some people, and they're recruiting people to go to the country that they live in. Some people call them scammers. I don't know them. I probably will never meet them in my life. It's not like I have any good or bad anything to say about them. I live my own personal life. I do my own thing and I'm comfortable doing my own thing. And as someone who's been out of the United States for 10 years, I've been looking more at world politics. Like, what are the things that's happening? So even during the pandemic, I was in Colombia, shut down in the country. I saw how things were going on real time there. Whereas people were sending me information, the media saying this, oh, these people are dropping dead in the street. And it wasn't happening. Even when they were talking about one of the streets I lived on, like the things were not happening. A lot of the stuff that is going on right now with politics is psychological operations. It's called psyops. That is a militarized thing. It is something that's been going on since the beginning of politics. It isn't nothing new. But like, you can't trust Western media. That is a psyops. That is I hate to use military, but that is a weaponized wing of politics. And that's why I don't like politics. It's not truthful. It's not people that are really doing their job to govern properly. And remember, a government's job is to govern. Their job isn't to create jobs. Their job isn't to make your life happy. It is to govern. And this is one of the things that most governments are not doing, including the United States. I know there's this thing like, oh, it's the best in the world. It's not. There are way better governments that are governing than the United States. Travel more and you will start seeing those. You will start seeing which type of government you may like better. Like for me personally, I like classist governments. Some people may be like, oh, how could you say that? Classism works really well when you see it. Classism rewards you when you're working your butt off. Classism isn't as bad as it is. It isn't the picture they show you on Hollywood, like you're stepping over people and just spitting on them in the street. That's not classism. And you don't even see that nonsense, to be honest with you. And also just remember this, there's more people that are homeless in the United States than most other countries, most other countries in the world. In a lot of other countries, when you see people that are living on the street, it's a personal choice. Even if they are doing drugs, it's a personal choice. They have places to go to. Even here in Zambia, a person can go to a village, talk to the chief, and they will give them a little piece of land and help them build a house. Like, that is a fact. So like, when you see certain things, you have to realize this isn't because the government is bad or people are bad. It's a personal choice. And so we do need to start realizing it. And so like the person was talking about the one executive order that President Trump signed that is going to be phasing out government treasury checks. These are the paper checks that you get in mail. It could be Social Security, SSI, SSDI, income tax refunds, all of these different things that would call for a check from the Treasury. Now, the average person may be like, oh, this is horrible. He's trying to take the American currency. He's not. The United States banking system is archaic. It is old. I don't even think they deal with checks here in Zambia. Like, come on now. Checks are old. And not only are these checks old, one of the biggest forms of corruption in the United States is through people cashing checks that don't belong to them. Do you know how many people have been still receiving checks, whether it's Social Security, SSDI, SSI, or some other type of treasury check for years, and they're not even on this planet anymore, and people have been cashing those and living off of those. That is what he's actually doing. He's stopping the nonsense. Anybody who is a business owner or have done business will tell you one of the most unsafe ways to accept payment is checks. Checks can be counterfeited. You can bounce checks. Like, it's so much you can do there. It isn't worth the time and effort. Now, should the US go to a moneyless society? Yes. Will the US go to the moneyless society within the next 3 to 5 generations? No, I don't see it happening, because they have to overhaul all their POS machines. They have to put a whole new infrastructure in place to accept payments. Like, even here, like on my phone, if I need to send someone money, I can send it through my Airtel app. You can't do that in the United States. Yes, you have Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and all of that, but I can send it on my phone using the same network that is providing me my cell phone service. I believe in parts of Eastern Africa, they have something called M-Pesa. Like, there's other countries that have ways to move money around seamlessly, effortlessly. So like, the US is actually behind. Even here, the banking system here is safer than the United States. Here's something that most people don't talk about. Whenever I'm traveling around the world, my bank card is usually not broken into, meaning with the NFT scanners and all of that. But every time I have went back to the United States, every time over these last 10 years, whenever I enter the United States, my bank card gets hacked. All of those things are more prevalent in the United States because it's a very lackadaisy financial institution. Even now, I think even now you can go open up a bank account and you don't even have to really prove much of who you are. Just a regular identification card. They're not going to check and see if it's real or not. Like, the banking institutions there are archaic. Like, I get most Americans want to believe the United States is the best. I understand that propaganda goes around 24/7 nonstop, because the only images they show of other countries is they're poor, it's dangerous, there's violence, there's corruption. It's the same thing that's in the United States. How much gun violence is there? How much corruption is there? Like, even this whole political thing is showing you all the corruption right up in your face. The millions, if not billions of dollars that the Democratic Party was just stealing, and including Republicans too. Like, I'm not acting like one party is better than others. It's a two-headed coin of just nonsense. Like, both parties have bad people within it. Let's just be honest here. Like, let's just remember, a party is not better than anyone. It is the sum of the people that makes it up, and people have problems. And we need to start realizing that these are people. Like, yes, this person may be represented under the Republican banner. That doesn't make them a Republican. They're a person. I can tell you, well, I can't tell you, but I can say this. Like, I saw firsthand in the US, in Iraq, how much money was made and profited off in that war. That was an economic machine. When you see a paper plate or something, how much the price of that stuff is, like, you'd be like, yo, what? It's literally cheaper to not even have us at war and just help the people that need help here. It was literally cheaper, but it was a financial economic institution, without going into much more detail. And so, like, I just want to encourage you on this, like, embrace change. The way things have been done in the United States is so old and so long ago. Embrace change. Like, even now, and let's go back to the common sense principle. I think a lot of that has been lost in the United States, if not around the world. There are still more people around the world that do not know how to use digital currencies. Like, do you know how many people have zero understanding of crypto, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, meme coins, NFTs? Like, these things are not going to change anytime soon. Like, the world isn't just going to wake up one day and be like, oh, there's no more digital, no more currency notes. No, you have to gradually phase those things out, the same way they gradually phase us off a gold standard and a silver standard. If you go back and find an old dollar, it used to have gold standard on there. It meant it was backed by physical gold. It's not anymore. They didn't just stop that overnight. Even when the legislation went into place, it did not stop overnight. Look at where we are in the world now. People don't even remember about the gold standard in America. I used to collect gold standard dollars. I used to collect a lot of notes in the United States. But like, so let's stop the fear mongering. And also, if someone is trying to sell you something and they're putting you in fear, understand there's a hidden motive behind that. Fear is one of the most driving factors in human physiology. Like, here's an example. During election times, no matter where you go in the world, there's always this propaganda machine going out of danger, unsafe. And the reason behind it, the psychological studies show the more that people feel unsafe, the less likely they are willing to change. If you go back maybe 2, 3 presidencies, closer to 9/11, every time there was an election, there was always things about the terrorist, 9/11, we got to remember. Those are fear tactics. The same way when there's a Democratic Party in place, what are they telling blacks? They're talking about racism. What are they telling whites? They're talking about foreigners coming in and taking their jobs. Those are fear tactics. I remember I told my brother once, he was like talking about, oh, these people come in and they're taking the job. I'm like, bro, do you want to be a strawberry farmer? Do you want to work some of these low end jobs? He's like, no, I worked hard for where I'm at. I'm like, so why do you care? You're not even talking about something that you're even looking into. And it's probably the same for you too. Like, make decisions off a level, clear base. Never make a decision off fear. The more you make a decision off fear, the more likely you might get scammed, you might get ripped off, or you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. And embrace change. What's going on right now within the United States government is something that should have been happening years ago. I'm just hoping that he forced them to actually balance the budget for once. You know, the U.S. government has not had a balanced budget, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe it haven't been balanced since, I want to say Clinton's first term, but it may even go back to George Bush Sr. It's been a long time since the U.S. has had a balanced budget. That is why the government has to shut down sometimes. They're not balancing the budget. They're not running the country as a business. A government is a corporation. That is why they have corporate taxes and all these different things. Like, this is why certain rich people do not pay taxes. They're in partnership with the government. Only W-2 wage employees really pay taxes. If you know how to do corporate taxes correctly, you legally don't have to pay taxes because you're doing the right thing. And so just wanted to share that with you because I don't want anyone to be coming to the continent out of fear. The United States isn't collapsing. They're not going to World War III. None of this stuff is happening. And like all of this fear mongering that people are using, and they're shaking, they're hugging you, but you don't see the knife right behind your back that they're getting ready to just jug in you to take your money. Just be cautious. Like, this will probably be one of the last or very few political videos I ever talk about. I don't like politics. It's a waste of time. I feel like we should be putting most of our time into actually building businesses, creating generational wealth. Speaking about governments is pointless. My personal opinion, governments are nothing but criminal organizations. And what I mean by that is individuals are going to always be corrupt. Like, let's go back to the Romans of Caesar. Like, it was the Senate that took Caesar out, took Julius Caesar out. Like, just stay away from it. If you're not into that lifestyle, why do you care about the government? They're not affecting your day-to-day life. Like, keep going, keep moving, build your life, build your business, build the life, and also decide what do you want for your life. The government is not going to give it to you. One thing that I keep telling people, there's never going to be this magical person get into office and they give you everything that you need. It's not happening. I made some of my biggest mistakes under the President Obama administration. Bought my house. Guess what? I didn't get the first time home buyer's credit. I found out that was nothing. All these things people were telling me, and when I did it, but guess what? The people who were telling me were not people that were buying houses. They were not people building businesses. Even like now when people are like, oh, when Trump was first in office, he was horrible. This happened, that happened. I'm like, I was making great money under a business while he was in office. I can tell you, a lot of my money came up missing when Biden came into office. I can tell you that. But like, if you're not in the actual arena playing in certain things, you're not going to know what's really going on. It is too easy to package some videos, clip some words, and then just tell you a bunch of opinionated things to make you feel like something is going on. Feelings is not something you should ever make major decisions on. You need to have knowledge. You need to have an understanding. Like when you're ready to make a decision and your feelings involved, the feelings should be going in place with, okay, this is the logic. These are all the information, the facts, the truth that I have stacked up. Now I want to put my feelings into it. And I'm gonna give you a personal example with me leaving the United States. I've never wanted to be back in the U.S. since I was in the military stationed in South Korea. I'm one of those people. I just didn't like the United States. I felt like the fact that there are people that are growing up in hoods, ghettos, I didn't think that was right. Me seeing drugs my entire life, seeing violence my entire life. So like for me, I don't have that love or fascination for the United States. I didn't grow up in the privileged area. My mom did the best that she could. And I'm so grateful for her because she took us out of the inner city, the hood, and moved us to the suburb. But by that time, I had already made up my mind as a kid, like, as soon as I can get out of the US, I'm gone. That's why when I tell people I'm not going back, I have no reason to go back and live there. I never really cared about that country as far as living there. And I never felt it was the best. I didn't see nothing that was best about seeing your uncles high off of crack, doing heroin. Nothing about that felt like the best to me. And then also, I didn't like the fact, the image that was portrayed for black men. So I was like, what's so good about here? You don't really like me. So why am I here? And then being called racist slurs, even as a kid, like I was done. I was so done with that place way before I actually left. And so that was my feeling for it. But guess what? I still went to the military. I made sure I was able to get a pension. I worked for the government. I did everything in place. And then when I was finally just got tired of seeing like, look, no matter what I do to try to be a good person here and live this American dream, it's a dream. So then I started actually doing research. I started stacking knowledge, truth, facts. I already knew because of my service in the military, the U.S. does not tell the truth about how other countries look. However, certain countries I wasn't willing to take the risk, like Mexico at the time. So that's why Mexico wasn't on my list. I regret that now. So what I did at first, I was looking into the UK. Then before I went to the UK, even though there was a lot of things there I loved, I'm a big Broadway musical person. I love musicals. I used to have season tickets to the Broadway in Texas. But I saw the exchange rate. I started stacking it up with my knowledge. I'm like, oh, I'm losing this much money just to pull money out. No, I don't like that. I'd rather go into a country where my money pulls out the same or it pulls out more. And so then I started looking into other countries. Then I started looking into safety. I'm like, I want a level of safety. I don't want to have to worry about gunshots. I don't want to have to worry about drug users all around me. I don't want to see those things. And then we ended up finding about Panama. It dumped on us. And then I didn't just say, oh, this is going to be the place. I went there and visited for 2 weeks. I traveled around the country for 2 weeks, seeing the different areas, seeing how the people are, seeing if I'll be able to get around. Yes, at that time, I didn't speak Spanish. I didn't understand Spanish even. But guess what? I was just stacking up. Okay, like, am I able to get food? Am I able to move around? Can I understand the currency? Do the people seem nice? Even though I can't understand everything, does it seem nice? Do I feel safe? And once I started stacking all those things up, then my emotions got involved. Of like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic. That is when you put your emotions in. After you have got all the knowledge that you need, please hear me on that. Do not just be afraid and go somewhere. It's going to end up bad. But if you're actually putting together the knowledge, gathering more information, then put your feelings in it, put the emotions involved. Because remember, emotions is energy in motion. And if you're moving with negative energy, bad emotions, the energy of fear, it's most likely going to move you in a bad, negative direction. If you're moving with energy that is enthusiastic, happy, excited, grateful for the opportunity, you're going to be moving more into positive. You're going to move more into a positive motion. You're going to have a positive outcome from it. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And that's one of the reasons why I have zero problems with talking with people, providing as much information as I can. This is why I refuse to charge people consultations and all this. I want you to to do things correctly. So if or when you make the decision to leave your home country, you're not going to be afraid, or you wake up one day with regret because you may have made a bad decision because you actually acted from a negative emotion. And so that's going to be it for today. Man, I don't like talking about politics. This is so boring. This is so boring, I tell you. But that's it for today. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. And just remember this. I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.